I'm ready anytime. You ready? Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I ask y'all to overlook the structure today, but there's a little change of pace, if it's all right. One of the things that I want to talk about today is something just we was passing the other day, and this is about black gangs. So the article on the FBI, right?
Yeah, actually I found the article on New York Times actually.
Or would you just read the top part of it, the first?
Yeah, this one's from New York Times, but it says pretty much the same thing. In a personnel shakeup that reflects the end of the Cold War, the Federal Bureau of Investigation plans to reassign several hundred agents from internal security investigations to combat serious crime and gang violence. Officials in the Bush administration said today. Although the move is expected to involve fewer than 300 agents in a force of about 10,000, the shift is symbolically dramatic and representing a downgrading of counter-espionage efforts in favor of a more intensive attack on violent crime, particularly gang violence. Call it a peace dividend, one official said.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Just visualize the big, gigantic, mean Soviet Union. If you could think back to the during the 80s and what have you, they had TV programs where the U.S. was taken over by the Soviet Union and all of that stuff. And they have movies now, Wolverines, what either the Korean, somebody taking over the U.S. But something that's not funny is, number one, you have the Soviet Union in its breakup, and they reassigned 300 FBI agents to what? To black gangs. What I want to talk to you about is my experience with this issue, and not the common running up and down the street experience. I'll just start by the last time I was in Iran. They was pressing me about black gangs and, I know where it's coming from. It was coming from Mujahid Abdul Karim, the Shia Imam at Masjid al-Rasul in L.A. That's been his flag thing for 1,000 years. And I would tell him all the time, because he would be talking that stuff to Iranians when he would go to Iran. This is during the revolution, not during the revolution, but during the Jihad, during the war, where you wouldn't believe that the oxygen, if you could feel it in Iran. If you just light a match, you could feel it would almost catch fire. I mean, that's how juiced up people was. We'd had him programs, and Mujahid he would speak, and then I would speak, and he would be telling the people that there are thousands of people, black gangs in the United States, waiting for Imam Khomeini to give the word to rise up, and the people would be ecstatic. And I would be telling the brothers, that nigga's lying, tell him to stop. I mean, we right here on the stage. And I would be looking at him, I'd say, tell him. I would be like, Mujahid, shut up, you're lying. That's a damn lie. It ain't two niggas in America waiting on no message from Imam Khomeini. But that's Mujahid's line. And of course, to me, he's a tattletale. He's always been from Jump Street. I'm not gonna go off on it, but since they sent Shia snitches to Oakland and Berkeley right away in the early part of in 82 and 83, right away. That they came from Baitul Din. I don't know if you ever heard of Baitul Din. Baitul Din was in Blanco, Texas. Blanco, Texas, they had a sheikh down there called Fadullah Hayri. He had a big compound, and he taught Islam, and he was technically from Iraq. And technically he was a Shia, but I asked a whole group of Negroes transferred to Oakland. And they was always ready, a group. Against us, when somebody came, they was a group. They didn't send no one or two every now and then. They had wonderful children that could recite Quran and everything. In those days, that's a big deal, in 82, 83 and all that. Oh, they could. And so their goal was to divide up, to pull us away from the Shias. That we were going around talking at all the places now, by then. They did it in Denver. You know, they tried to, I was walking down the street in the morning in Denver, not walking down the street, I was doing my regular run. And a nigga I'd been in the penitentiary with 1 year before. I meet him, yeah, he's come to all the Muslim meetings, yeah, I'll get back to the story in a minute, but anyway, yeah, what you doing with it? I said, no, man, we got a joint over here, come on by. That Negro came by and joined in with the group of wonderful Sufis, Sunnis, Shias, Arabs, everybody. And then when I would go back to Oakland, there's a crew there that would try to destroy what we did then. And so, I don't know if you heard of Sheikh Jelani and them. Sheikh Jelani and them had a crew up in Denver, like they had some going down to LA too. The crew in Denver, you might have read, around Denver, Colorado, just think Colorado, you would read about them in the newspapers every now and then. The brother that was really pushing unity between Negroes and Iranians, he's got his name on a big building now in Iran, right now. That's how important he was important then. He's the same brother that had a little contract, you know, since he was a hustler, he had a little contract with Radio Shack. He would get stuff, you know what I mean, and let brothers go to the flea market. If that's a flea market, yeah, whatever those markets are. When I left, they tried to undermine what we was doing. And one of the brothers told me, yeah, man, Najib, when I went to his house, I saw these blonde hairs all on this white girl. This is a nigga, black as I am, with blonde hairs on it, you know. And then they was just filling me in on stuff. And a group of brothers from Carolina came to Denver when I was back in California, and they was working with Ali Kolgi, and he gave them $8,000 worth of material, and they run off with it. So that no Iranians would trust blacks anymore. You see what I mean? The other thing they tried to do was try to cause disunity between us and Iranians. The lucky thing was that the Berkeley crew had one of the sharpest brothers. He was my best friend. He still is today, right? And they made sure that there was no division. On May 30th, 1982, I gave a lecture in LA. We don't want Iranianism. We don't want Pakistaniism. We don't want Arabism. All we want is Islam. Mujahid and his Iranian friend, Ahmed, down there, told me this is what government agents say. We don't want Iranianism and all of that. What I was telling them was, you guys got a good thing, your culture. All we want in America is Islam. This is the time when we're establishing our identity. We don't want, because the people give you Pakistani culture wrapped in Islam. And for them, it's all Islam. And they have a right to do that because they don't know the difference. They just, that's the way they got Islam, wrapped in a Pakistani package. Iranians got the same thing. They got, this is Islam. It's wrapped in an Iranian package. They can't see it, but we can. I say, hey man, we don't want that. I remember the date. It was March, it was April, May the 30th, 1982. The biggest demonstration we had, Quds demonstration in LA, was in 1984. And it was, the police was walking down the street on Wilshire Boulevard, 8 deep, 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean? And then on the other street over here, you could see the police going and coming. On the other street over here, you know, going parallel to us is the other police. They had us boxed in. The Negroes that came from Baitul Din, Father Lahiri in Blanco, Texas, and the Negroes in LA was a clique. They tried to start a fight with the police so the police could come in and beat us upside the head. So we all sat down, which was perfect. And they out of pocket. They up there trying to kick at the police and everything. In other words, this stuff that we see and smell from time to time, we don't know what it is. Let's jump to the last time I was in Iran. Then I'll go back to where I was. The last time I was in Iran, on Press TV, you know, if I'm in Iran, that's all I'm gonna watch because I don't speak Farsi, because I'm not gonna, I may look at a few more channels just to see what's going on, but I'm gonna be Press TV over and over and over again. And that cycle, they must have kept it on an extra week or two, but they showed the confiscation of drugs on the Afghan border. And Iran is a miracle country because they try to send drugs through Iran to Europe, right? And you talking about drug confiscation, man, and they be collecting all kind, not only opium, not only heroin, crystal meth, and all that from Afghanistan. Not too much of it stay in Iran, although there is a small drug problem in Iran, no doubt about it. Of course, you just get killed, that's all. They just kill you. No, from 89, when I came in January 89, when I left in mid-year, they started a new policy. Anything over an ounce of drugs, you're gonna get hung. They had hung 500 people by the time I left. You get due process, you get all of that, but you're gonna get hung right away. And so that's the law. The death penalty is all throughout that part of the world. In Indonesia, you get caught. You remember white folks get caught during the Reagan administration with heroin. Please don't kill them. And they said, well, you want to kill all the niggas. And in California, why you don't want us to lynch these crackers over here, you know. But anyway, so There's a line that's going on. The Iranians in the foreign ministry keep hitting at me about black gangs in America. Black gang, this is Mujahid's line for 40 years, 50 years. That's his line. It's bull crap. It's bull crap. It ain't gonna work. Although people that watch movies like, what was the movie? It was based in Chicago. 72 Spook Set by the Door and all that stuff. Yeah, they got it. Black gangs gonna do everything. I'm gonna get back to real black gangs in just a minute so we understand when we're looking at something, what we're looking at. Anyway, so they keep telling me, you think they're trying to convince me, like the guy came here 2 weeks ago trying to convince me of what, whatever they want to convince me. I said, no, that ain't the way it is. So I'm talking to the brothers, I'm saying, no, man. So, of course, I didn't say this, but I overheard somebody tell them, with the drugs you're getting, if you want to bust up America, you want to bust up America. I didn't say this. Of course, certain things are haram, but I don't know how, when you get in a big war and people are trying to kill you and all, I don't understand all that. Just playing like, of course, I didn't say this. I said, you want to bust up America, here's how you do it. I didn't say this, I'm here, it's the guy sitting there. He says, if you want to bust up America, you want to degrade, that's at the same time portrayals and the generals is getting the white girls, they secretaries, you know what I mean, general portrayal, all of them. So you want to bust boss man up, so you target them Peckerwoods. You target them just like they target niggas. You target them with all the excess money that you get from drugs. Don't worry about drugs being traced back to Iran. You get them into Mexico. Just don't worry about, you get them into Mexico. And from Mexico, 20, 30 miles from the border, you buy, rancho, this, that, another. You got 2,000, 3,000 miles you could buy, right? And you ease them across the border. You ease them across the border. So, but these drugs are targeted, especially cocaine and other drugs. You can corrupt the hierarchy. You can corrupt them. Easy. Pretty girls, white ones, black ones, all kind, don't make no difference. And cocaine, it's a deadly mix. It's a deadly mix. And if you got enough money, you can get enough girls on your team and keep them high as a kite. Manageable. You can't just be high falling out, but I mean, eyes red at work and all that. But they're strategically placed. I said, you'll knock the big boys. You want to get them? You go after them, though. You got to go after them. You can't be playing. You go after them crackers like they've been after niggas. You go after them systematically, diligently, right? And you bust their ass wide open. You can't lose. You can't. When you target them weak-minded Peckerwoods, General so-and-so, and he's been married to his wife 500 years, and she old and wrinkled, and here's a tender right here, right? Ain't nothing he can do. He can't, because they don't have Tazkiya bil Nafs. They don't have, none of them, they don't have it. They just don't have it. I'm not saying I knew anything about America, or the guy I'm listening to. I was listening to that nigga, right? He sounded like he knew what he's talking about. So, said, but black gangs, now, they were showing me that to almost, the drugs to trap me into a certain type of thing. That's what they was doing it for, right? Because they knew I was there. I know the people at Press TV. I know they know me. Everybody knows that, and I could see what they're doing. But I flipped it on them, or it was flipped on them to tell them, if you're in a war with America and you want to bust him up, go ahead. That's the way you do it. Don't waste no time with no black gangs. Do not waste any time with black gangs. You can't do it. Boss man ain't gonna let you do it. And anybody, and I was telling them, if Mujahid is telling you this SHIT, you're crazy. But if you want to bust up boss man in a war situation, that's him right there. That's him. I say he's trying to flood your country with heroin. That's what he's trying to do. So if you want to bust up boss man, you get him easy. And you don't have to, it's manipulatory after a while, right? You're not destroying people's, you just want a little shift here, right? You want a general to just give you a little information, right? And you still get plenty of cocaine, you still get the white lady, or the Mexican, or you are kind of freakish, which they are anyway, you just choose what you like, right? And it ain't no big deal. And then by that time, they don't care. You know what I mean? They like their high, and they like the other. You make niggas out of them. Yes, you just make niggas out of them. They make niggas out of us, right? So no, we know how, they know how to make niggas, we do too. So you just ride them boys, and you just stay on them, take your time, no hurry. Pretty soon, you got them all the way up to the White House. You don't have to worry, you just take your time. They all do it, it ain't no problem, right? No, and that's what somebody was telling them. You want to, because they're showing the amount of drugs that Iran confiscate every day, and they, a big truckload, and they prevent them from going into Europe, and they don't even give Iran no money for it, right? They're preventing, without Iran, Europe would be the dope capital. Well, it's kind of headed that way anyway. But it would be really, Afghan heroin is so pure, it's just Afghan black tar, all that opium, 50 years ago, Afghan black was the best tar and opium you could get. That's what Afghan black, that's what they called it when I was messing around. Anyway, this thing about gangs. The subject of 300 FBI agents in 1992 being taken from, right, from the FBI, whose job it was to watch the Soviet Union, right? Now they're transferred to black gangs. This is insanity. That's what I said when I was reading the newspaper article over on 8th Street. That's what I was saying. So this isn't, how could this be? Unless the importance, right? What's the importance level? This is the Soviet Union, the biggest threat to America, and this is black gangs, the second biggest threat to the United States of America. It has to be, that's where they put them, right? The second biggest threat to the United States of America, right? Forget all that black, that we're gonna fight crime. They ain't fighting no crime. So what is it about black people, black gangs, and what have you? Unless you're involved in it you have to understand the structure. Let's take two of our people. Let's take Jeff Ford and let's take Imam Jamil Alameen. And you notice we do research, we discuss why. Like we said, now you could tell we loved Imam Jamil, still do now, because we raised $300,000 for him. We took it down to Atlanta and we went on about our business. We're going to get some more money, inshallah, and try to get him out of prison before he dies. But certain things about Imam Jamil, and there's certain things about Jeff Ford, both of them. Okay. Remember the drug dealers dealing drugs in Imam Jamil's neighborhood and supposed to shoot a guy. Well, if you got a reputation, you don't want nobody in your neighborhood selling drugs, right? And the police don't like you. What's the first thing you're gonna get in your neighborhood? Dope dealing niggas, right? Right away. Ain't nothing you can do about it. That's the way that go, because that's your MO. A safe, easygoing neighborhood, right? Basketball court across the street, little stores here and there, masjid right here, right, in the old days. That's the way it's clear. Okay, in 1983, I did a trip around the U.S. and I wound up in Atlanta. I was going to Atlanta to see Imam Jamil. And so I came, Iowa, and and we had our paperwork that kind of let everybody know we respected Imam. We respected Ikhwan al-Muslimin, because they could see we would relate to them the message of the teachings. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, message of the teachings. Risalat at-Ta'aleem. So we just recited it. And yeah, we like this, that, and another. They ain't gonna tell you that's where we coming from. So some of the Arabs would say, yeah, and I would tell them, where can we do dawah? And I said, go to the prisons. I said, the state here has plenty of people there ready to accept Islam. They say, what about the good people? And I looked at them like, hell, those are the good people. What they meant was, what about the white people? Right? So I told Imam Jamil, I said, seemed like it was something going on in that. He said, no, there's a memo about that. There's a memo. Go after, you know what I mean? Well, you can see it now at ISNA and all of them. Go for the white people. Don't, prison dawah is great and all that, but go for the white people. And that's what they wanted then, and they still got it. They was incorporating white people's Abdullah Had Umar, knew two seconds about Islam, giving lectures all over. What's the name right there down in at ISNA headquarters? Johnson was the name. I think of his name in a minute. They had Steve Johnson. They had I can't even remember the guy with the glasses. Then they had the white woman. Yeah, they was just, we white, we want to be white. But the Negro, what is it particularly about the Negro? Now, you take somebody like Imam Jamil. When I kept bringing him money and I admitted him to see him in jail, after a while he says, because a lot of people are surprised about if you say your wife or that wife. So Imam Jamil said, stop giving money to my wife. That's his longtime wife. Well, it's still, that's all right, anyway. And I just did it. And I took it to the brothers that he pointed out. Well, where'd she come from? When he was hiding up in New York, here she come from Canada. Nice young lady. They get married. Even coons like John Lewis, his wife was from California, working in Atlanta, had peace signs all over. I don't know if you heard of it. That peace sign, what the hell is all that about? And I'm just down with peace, 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 and so is he. Overboard peace, and they get married, right? Yeah, peace, 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 peace. Yes, yes, and with them peace, you know, the little fish symbols, peace and all that. Look, okay, so you have Imam Jamil. You have him in Atlanta. He's already told me in '83 when I got there, he said, because, assalamu alaikum, this is nice, everybody. He said, they not with me. That means all the people that are there with him. He's saying, they not with me. Okay. Now, let's fast forward a while. Suppose it has to do with learned helplessness and let's call it revolutionary suicide. Let's call it something like that. Suppose you're trapped and you know you're trapped. You can't, ain't nobody you gonna talk. You're not talking to nobody that ain't the police. That's the way it is. That's the rule. What are you gonna do? What's gonna kick in? You wanna make a contribution to humanity. That's what your life seems like it's been hooked up for that. You wanna make a contribution to humanity, right? But you can't. You just, the boss man is not going to allow you. Suppose you're realistic, not optimistic. Realistic. That means 2 and 2 is 4 and all that. That's a little different than optimistic. Optimistic, you can always find some lining in there. But you're realistic with a little light bit of optimism because you have to be to want to change the world, right? But if you're basically realistic, you add all that stuff up, and what's the purpose? What's the purpose? So, anybody would know that if you've been arrested at 96 for shooting somebody, right? There's an old rule. If you get away with it this time, the Fed's gonna kick in. Next time, they're gonna, you know, that's the way they would do us. If you get away with a crime in state court, or if you win a case, or the next time, you better leave, because they coming, and they gonna, 98% of the time, they're gonna lock you in. That's the way, that's the rule. That's a basic rule in the United States, especially for Negroes. So suppose, well, I'm just gonna speed it up and say it. Why would a person that knows that the police, that they're number 1 on the police list, number 2 on the police list, they've been trying to blow them up or kill them or get rid of them since forever, right? Why would they say, and this is what the brothers here say, you know, our brothers, they said, our favorite imam said that if they do this, that, and other, right, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that the same information that you heard? That's what okay. Of course, we know he's innocent. Of course he's innocent. But that would be trying to find, you don't know what be clicking upstairs after, when they block, you got to remember, when they block the human being off and he ain't got no exit, he can't go up, he can't go no way. There's certain animalistic things. It's called learned helplessness. It's like the dog in the thing. You electrify the cage, he can't get out, can't go up, he sit down. Pretty soon, after the third go around, you can turn the juice up all the way. And he just sit there. Suppose you're too much of a human being to just sit there. Let's call it revolutionary suicide. You commit suicide. But it's revolutionary suicide. Or heroic suicide. I'm just saying there's a possibility. I'm saying that people that don't do that stuff, they don't know what happens. They done read the white man's paper, but they don't know exactly what wandering in the wilderness means and how. They don't know how to wander. You got to study to wander. You know what I mean? You got to study to wander. So you wandering correctly. You're not just looking for something or to find yourself. You are moving in a positive direction. Suppose you don't have no positive direction. It's just closed off. You can't do nothing, nigga. All of your people. And you know it's true. That's what he told me. These people, hey, not with me. That's in 83. Never mentioned again, but so I know who they are. I know who they are. And guess what the proof is? What did anybody in his community do to help him get out of penitentiary? What did all them? I know I took $300,000 down there. That's not a little money. That's not $5 or $10. I was taking stacks of money at a time. Where'd it go? But I didn't want to get involved. I didn't want to get involved because I didn't want, you know what I mean? He seemed to want it to go a certain way. But you got to remember, we shouldn't over-expect our heroes to be magicians too. They're humans. You know what I mean? They're human beings. They're real, live, breathing human beings with a little extra. They done run into certain things and they have leadership characteristics. What if the white man block every road? Right? You have to have some special stuff. This is what we call it, heroic suicide. You do something and you know what it produces. But it's suicide. It's not, right? It's like the Japanese on them islands when they would blow themselves up. Well, I don't believe in that. You go blow up boss man. Since we're gonna get blown up here, let's go take a few of them with us, right? Heroic suicide is not blow yourself up, right? No, heroic suicide is laying in the cut, running out and grabbing a couple of them crackers and pulling the pin, right? Yeah. And so pretty soon you'll scare them all off the island or something, right? That's heroics. not heroic suicide. It's just a name I call it. Heroic suicide. That's one example. Suppose, let's take someone like Jeff Ford. Jeff Ford. Superior organizer. One thing that's what he's known for. Everybody know that. He can organize. When I was with him in Chicago, I said, by the way, everywhere I'm going to be studying. It don't make no difference what anybody say. I'm going to study. So I'm studying them in detail. I am studying them. By the time I get there, he's got out of the pen. Of course, and I've been out a while doing this Islam. And whatever didn't happen to one, didn't happen to the other, so he's pretty sure about the people around him too. Not in the first years, but as the years go on, people get older, they get more realistic, and just remember, they had 30,000 people. Because the brothers told me, he said, yeah, man, when King was here, he had 40,000 people down there with him, and said 30,000 of them was us. I said, man, that was folks. No, it was folks. I'll get back to Oakland in a minute. But remember, we say Oakland was the right size, the right time, and the right place. Not New York, not Chicago. Jeff Ford, them, they had a certain attitude. Well, people don't understand the black attitude going into the 60s, Northern Negroes. When we moved out there, we was fighting white kids. When I went to Webster Elementary School, it was 5 Negroes went there. And they didn't have to carry no sign. I was terrorizing all the white kids. I was terrorizing them. They wasn't, you know what I mean? I was terrorizing them. That's what the white folks were saying. He's doing this. Well, they do call him names like Jungle Bunny. I say, yeah, Jungle Bunny, Cracker. You know, and so, you know, we felt, one Negro always felt he could whoop 5 white boys, 10 white boys. That got us hurt pretty bad, though. You got to remember, therefore, we didn't train much. The police, them punk police, them little thin mustaches, there was actually girls, but they was trained girls. And them police, you'd shoot them, they'd roll over. You would hit them, they would roll over and shoot you and kill you. Right, because that's what they taught. You get hit. In those days, they was using .38 specials. Remember them revolvers? That's why the party moved from a minimum of .357 Magnum to a .44 Magnum. Because they were shooting police and they would hit the ticket book and it wouldn't, right? So I'm telling you what the party was saying. So they changed. He said, that's why we changed from a .38 special to a minimum .357 Magnum or 44. Had to. All right. Now, let's get back to Jeff Ford. Let's say there's a lot of intuition start kicking in over the years. I mean, you can feel things, and usually you're going to act off of them if you got any sense, you know, you can feel it. So why would somebody that's at the top of the list, the best physical organizer of Negroes in the United States, the best, why would he stroll down to Mississippi? Might as well went on to Texas, where they give you 500 years for a joint in those days. Marijuana. Why? Is it discipline? Is it lack of discipline? Is it not mental clarity? Right? Why would all the TV, they didn't just put, when they was in the penitentiary, they didn't just took all them FBI agents in those years, they didn't just took them, right, off of the Soviet Union and they got them on blacks. Why would anybody black be talking on the telephone? We just talked to the old man. And Gaddafi, they treated him so bad that they let people commit sodomy on him, right? So how much they hated Gaddafi. Why, wouldn't we have enough sense to know better? You never know. Sometimes it's heroic suicide. We're the Blackstone Rangers, Peace Stone Nation, Al Rukin, and now we mumbo-jumbled up. But we can't see our way out, right? We can't see where, you know what I mean? The white man done blocked off, and he let you know, yeah, well, what you gonna do, homeboy? And if you're not diligent, if you don't have a protracted mentality and super optimistic, you may start seeing he's showing you life and his vision, right? He's showing you his picture. You can't look at it, but how many Negroes gonna learn that, right? You gotta remember, how many is gonna walk through the minefield of life without getting blown up? What's the numbers look like? One. That's all. If not, where's everybody at? Where's Sekou Dinga, right? Where's, what's the nigga was here the other week? The Panther 21. Where's, okay, when somebody get out of jail, we meet them, hey man, here's a little money, try to help you out. Yeah, then they off and gone. And then, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that I meet everybody that come out of prison, but if they were, you know, you could see pictures on the phone, you know, if you have to, you know. BLA, Black Liberation Army, all them people, right? That's who you know, right? And maybe they pay attention, and maybe boss man tell them, yeah, you can get out of the pen, but you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing. We don't allow that. You know what I mean? We just don't allow nothing else to happen. And if you listen to boss man, pretty soon, boss man gonna tell you what to do. And you're gonna listen to him. And he's gonna make it look like you're not going to do anything. Let me see, just one more minute, I'll be there in another second. So anyway, the point is a type of suicide. It's called revolutionary or evolutionary suicide. When you, basically, it's heroic suicide. So what if you just take some marijuana with you and you know better? You know better. And who the hell needs to be high in Mississippi anyway? Right? When you got a whole gang up there, right? But you don't know what you can tell them to make them useful. So you have to go around and around and around the same old thing all the time, right? Okay, that produces, yeah, here's a picture. Everybody can see who that is, right? I don't care whether you hear about As-Sabiqun, Joanne, just all that New Jersey Turnpike stuff, Black Liberation Army, okay, boop, but that's it. Just like I pushed that button, glad to see you. You're in exile together. But bossy say, oh, bossy don't want certain things to happen. Why you don't hear nothing? Why you don't hear nothing about it? And it's stupid when you do hear it. It'd be dumb arguments like them niggas, right? Arguing about what is it, Hotep, that stuff. You mean, let's go over the math. You mean out of all of the people, let's just do a realistic assessment. Out of all the people that go through that, don't nobody come out right. Huey Newton commits suicide. How? Drugs. Eldridge Cleaver commits suicide. How? Drugs. The police is laughing and happy. My son told me when he was in jail with Huey, and Huey and them told him, the guy said, that's little Hank over there. So Huey asked him to come over. He said, yeah, we want to thank your father for what he did, but here come the captain. Where's that Huey P. Newton there? Well, a big joke. They don't do that to me. Where's Big Hank? Who you talking to, sucker? What you talking about? They don't do that to me. They can't do that to me. The FBI, when they didn't say, where's that nigga at? Where's the nigga at? They ain't say nothing like that. How to punk the FBI, right? That's going after them. How many people do that? So I'm getting to the point in a minute. Heroic suicide. They done pushed all the people, man. They push them to suicide. They give up. That's basically what it is. Huey gave up. He said, hell, I can't. I done messed up my life. I done killed this little prostitute. I done did this. I forgot my principles. Suicide. Heroic suicide. But even them, it's not heroic suicide. It's just slow eating away of reputation, of movement, of ideas, and breaking people's heart. Same thing with old Eldridge, but Eldridge was never no good. Don't get it wrong. Eldridge was never any good. So if him and his homeboy come out of a house carrying a desk, trying to get it somewhere to sell it. What's that Negro's name? I think it's Marvin X. Marvin X. And they was calling, what's the name? Eldridge the devil, Shaitan. There's Shaitan's friend, you know. And all them guys was over at Big Black Conference here not long ago at Howard, maybe 5 years ago. So some guys approached me. They say, you remember the movie, The Panthers? They say, you remember the guys was in San Francisco and they had a fight with Huey and them? I said, yeah. He said, that guy is me. We have a school somewhere. He said, we heard about your stuff. Now, what's the name is telling him? The Negro from Oakland is telling him, this guy, Big Hank, they had this for Oakland. They did that for the party. You know, And so it says, we want someone, or we want you to explain your ideas on that, you know. I said, well, I'll holler at you a little later. Basically, no. You know, because I know the whole program was set up for that reason, to try to drag, you know what I mean? Because the government when you start telling it, they want you to tell it in detail so they can, Huh? Yeah. No, well, we're going to tell a whole lot of the story today because the people don't understand. They don't understand what's going on, and this also goes back to a question someone asked me: how are you doing? How do you do this? How do I said, well, I'll tell you later. But part of that will come to it. You got to remember Paget. Anybody remember Paget? People Against Gangsters and Drugs. South Africa. Very good friends of mine. By then, you got to remember, if you remember, the last time I'm going to South Africa, 2013, the people invited me because of certain things, and I was there dealing with, Raouf, refocus and all of that. A beautiful drug program, one of the best in the world that we started back in '98, but a little before. But I spent time with Paget, invited me there the last time, specifically in '98. The issue with Paget was, I don't know if you remember the picture of Rashid Staji in the newspaper when this guy, they thought he was dead. Paget sprinkled gasoline on him, lit him a fire, and you ever see them monsters in the monster show? He was on fire. That fire woke his behind up. Of course he died, but he got up and was walking on fire. That was Paget. People Against Gangsters and Drugs. The idea with Paget knew by then that how to get focused on what you're doing. So, but I gave some talks for them, but by the time they was in a lot of trouble in '98. '98, I went there and I told them this. I said, you guys look exactly like the Black Panther Party in 1968. You're exactly like them. Because we went around to the court and the leader was going in one trial, deputy leader was in another trial. We was Cape Town, I'm going through the court, and so then I advised them on certain things. I said, number one, I was riding with one guy and he's taking a license plate. It's a beautiful, one of them deep blue Benzes. It might have been a Mercedes. Deep blue convertible. Blue top, blue inside, blue on, blue in blue. Bad. So he's taking a license plate down. Paget guy with me. I said, why are you taking the license plate down? He said, well, that guy is too young to have that kind of car, and da-da-da-da-da. I said, well, after all, and then Mr. Hossein from, might have been Ghazali School or one of them. Let's say somebody tried to blow him up. This was a second attempt. And I'm friends with everybody, so he invite me, please talk to your friends. Can you tell them? You know what I mean? That, anything, I didn't repent, I don't do this. He's the principal of a school. I said, sure, I got it covered. So I talked to them and I asked them, first of all, in the news, you can hear the news. One van blows up with a Paget guy in it, you know what I mean? And so the police is blowing them up. All this stuff is going on in Cape Town. So I said, oh, what about Mr. Hussein and there's some name? He said, yeah, he ain't doing nothing now, but 15 years ago, he was getting pills from India and all that. I said, good God Almighty, 15 years ago? I said, what about Sharia? And I said, the guy you was taking his license plate, you didn't have no evidence on him, did you? No, but I could tell. I said, oh, you can't do that. Islamically. I said, no. You can't do. I say, y'all be trying to blow me up next because all you got to do is add double the time. I said, hell, 20 years ago, I was selling dope, big dope. 25, something like it was back a while. But I say, if y'all going back 15 years, I mean, you know, it ain't no cutoff, it ain't no nothing. So we also met with them, and we told them this, that revolutionaries have to have a place to hide. They hide amongst the people. I said, you done declared war on the police and on the Muslims. You ain't got no place to hide. You did, right? I said, so you got to be nice to the Muslims, right? And so we just let everything, just nice folks, right? I said, you have to do that. And when you do that, right, you can concentrate on the police because you either have to move from people against gangsters and drugs to have a total revolution. Right? You can't have partial, you know. So what they did was basically what we said. At that time in Cape Town, they had just brought in, what's the Negro historian? Abdul Hakim Quick, he was down there. Last time I had seen Abdul Hakim Quick, I called him the police and all that stuff, snitch. Which he was, you know, Saudi snitch. So the Saudis, when we came, the Saudis invited him down there to work with the Judicial Council, which all of them went to school in Saudi Arabia. Anyway, they said to him, what I showed the brother that I was staying with, that I was making all these talks, because I was raising funds for Paget. They was in jail, they needed help. And I was trying to say that your day is not finished, you still got good left in you. I said, but you got to ameliorate this stuff. So I said, let me show you how this is done. So we went to the Muslim Judicial Council where Abdullah Hakim Quick was. So when we walked in, oh, Imam Musa, and then I was facing him, and I said, oh, Imam so-and-so. I said, this is hypocrisy. I said, you know, I said, that's what you got to do. I don't like the guy know I called him a police. But he's, oh, I'm happy to see you, I'm happy to see you too, right? But you have to make some tranquility. You have to make some peace. You see what I mean? And so, about South Africa, there's one thing it says, greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and astounding results. I don't know if you can see that. Greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and astounding results. Okay, what that mean was we're hooked up in South Africa. We have the Europeans falling out all over the place with us. We're having demonstrations all down here, right? Remember 15, 20 years ago? We're having demonstrations around here, right? We done acquired all this property. You know, we haven't acquired nothing in 20 years. It's been 20 years ago we've been at all that stuff. The point is this. Okay, here's the point. Greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and astounding results. That's a criterion for judging a human being. Greatness of purpose, smallness of means, they ain't got nothing. And astounding results, right? All right. So now I want to bring it home to where we are now and what we're doing. When we watch press TV and we know that they're trying to get my mind into drugs, you know what I mean, and what have you, I have to be able to look at the foreign ministry in Iran and say, no, if you want to bust boss man up, this is what you can do. You can do that. And right, I mean, you can, that's physically not hard. If you take your time, if you're smooth about it, you can knock boss man, or you can get up in there where you can, okay. So we know that everybody's involved. If Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, what he said, remember what he said? He said, this guy this is what he said over 25 years ago, from the slave ship, right, to the jumbo jet, to the anvil, yeah. You know the anvil is shapes and forms and everything. It stick that piece in hot water, right? Then you beat it, then you stick it in cold water, right? And you beat it and shape it, but you got a good utensil. This is what I'm talking about the human being. Let's go over our people and our history just for a second. We have to examine Imam Jamil. He's a good man. But we have to look at him, you know what I mean? Okay, we can already see, you can see right away certain things. Number one, they went to school. That's not bad. School is not, I know y'all all went to school, so that don't mean it's not bad. It's not bad. But in school, suppose you miss a test. Well, you take it over, right? Most of the time, you can take it over. Suppose you're in South America and you miss a test. You're a dead man, right? Suppose they got a cutie pie, set you up, and they're going to steal all your money. They're going to steal all their money, they're going to kill you, or you're going to have to start all over. Or the police going to put you in prison for the rest of your life. You don't get a chance to take no tests over. You have to be right the first time. And you have to know your environment. When I came back from Colombia in 1978, I was, maybe I was thinking about doing something illegal, but I was too much in the sooner. I got too much. So when I went back down there, you know what I mean? It didn't taste right. And some of the things happened. I said, man, 5 years ago, I was, you know, ethics had creeped in. Ethics then creeped in. And I can't do it. So I come back here. When I hit the airport in Miami, I always use my brother's passport. He was a baseball player. So the customs agent say, you're back from playing ball, huh? I said, no. And they arrested me. Why did I say no? You gotta ask, why? Hell, I know yes, that's what I needed to be back in the pen for a while, because the pen for me, hell, has been where I get educated, I get rest, and I study in the pen. And I needed to be in the pen because I was slipping in and out of something that my heart ain't in it anymore. I could have did that stuff 5 years before. all eyes big, no trouble. When I was back down there this time, the feeling wasn't the same, and I knew it. Remember I told you I was looking at a picture, and I said, that nigga there, okay, other people didn't do that. I did the right thing. This is not the first time. I made the right decision for me at that time. I needed to be back in the pen. I was only going to be there for a couple of years. To me, it ain't no time. I'm just going to be there for a minute, because I'm only going to be there for currency, not drugs or nothing, And I might even get some of the money back. Although I had plenty of money on me and stuff like that. When I came home as the imam. I studied in Islam, clicking, right? It was the right decision to make. It was the right decision. Because I'm not wandering in the wilderness, I'm moving around, and internally I know, ethics done kicked in. I'm dealing with the Sunnah. I can't do that anymore. So I'm strolling around. I need to be back in the penitentiary. Why? Because I've been in the penitentiary all before, and the penitentiary never did me no harm. Never. It never did everything. I don't want to volunteer and go sit in the penitentiary, right? But I knew this is where I need to be at that time. And by the time I come out, I'm still evolving and growing and developing. What I'm saying is our brothers never did nothing like that. They never did nothing like that. And they wasn't optimistic about the future, so they committed suicide. That's the difference between me and them. That's the difference. If not, where is it a Negro in the United States that can, anybody you watch on TV? So you got to realize who you are and where you're at. Okay, where's the Negro? Mention any place. What decision? Did we make the right decision about Iran? Did we make the right decision about Hezbollah? Did we make the right decision about China? Where is our, right? In the strategic alliance, in the projection, how often have we been right? Literally, what? Every doggone time. And it's not Negro stuff, it's the global stuff. How many people know enough about history from our community to say the tilt is in? Now we moving from Stalingrad to Oakland. In other words, Stalingrad changed the whole perspective of World War II. It wasn't D-Day, it was Stalingrad, right? It was Stalingrad. The Russians started, and that changed, and everything that was against the people of Russia, right? And everything that was for the Germans turned against them. The air bombing, they just bombing everything. The great bomb up more, because now the tanks can't run nowhere, right? The weather. Germans had helmets, and hell, it'd be cold as and the Russians had hats, right? And the Germans had grease to make the thing freeze, and the Russians had a mixture of concoction, I don't know, looked like we fixed it up. And it made everything run smooth, right? Everything that was for them, that's the way it is now for us. Everything that's for us, everything that's going on in the world. Oh, they just picked a fight with China. Great. Why? Because China's in a position that you should have started this a long time ago, because they in pocket now. China got a Belt and Road, and they done built so many railroads in Africa, and they got Chinamans all over Africa. You ought to see the new movies like Wolf 2 or something. Anybody saw that? Boy, it's a good movie. It's a B movie, but it's Chinaman's. When it's all over, all the fighting is over, the Chinaman's the hero that just whooped the white man. And the white man says, people like you that are inferior to us. And the Chinaman turned him over and said, no, it's people like you that are, and he whoops him. All finished. No, it's all finished. And the hero Chinaman got a little black boy. He helped him find his mama. And there's big scenes where in Africa, the Chinese army is there now, and they taking out only Chinamans. And the heroes say, no, we all here together. So it's a good group of Chinamans, few military people and others. They say, we all here together. So the Africans and the Chinamans gonna leave together, right? They're cheap B movies, boy, but them same old crap they used to show us, the white folks. Them old dumb John Wayne movies and all that mess. Hey man, the Chinamans, and then when it's all over, it says wherever there's oppression and such, you will find China there to help. I said, get on then, Chinamans, get your butt on. I'm telling you, I just saw the thing on the other day. I just saw it on the movie. Yeah, the phone, I was watching it on the phone, I think. Somewhere I saw it. Anyway, look. Now I know the Chinamans is lying a little bit, but they're 80% correct. You know what I mean? They're 80%. And they building railroads. I'm telling you, the railroad from Mombasa to Nairobi used to take 12 hours. They got one now online that takes 4 hours. You there. All over the world. The Chinamans have encircled and re-encircled and counter-encircled the white man. He's done for. And then they got Don. Don is all for it. He just, anything, hey man, at the end of each round, he go to the wrong corner every time. Because he beat all up in the eye, he don't know what to do. Okay, this may sound a little disjointed, but out of all of this stuff, it's where we are now. We're right in the middle of this. It don't make no difference whether other Negro groups understand where we're coming from. I know this is time for a world-class movement, and that's what we have to do. It don't make no difference whether the niggas accept it or not. Remember the other day I was telling you about Abdul Kareem? Is that Abdul Kareem, the high yellow guy? Yeah. The yellow fellow from our community. I said, anybody who's in our community is the police in Oakland. That's what I meant. And if you listen and you see everything that go on there, right, it makes sense, right? They are. Okay. But we ain't got time to sit down and go through who they are. We just say, look, that's who they are. Quiet. Hey, man. Now I'm going to get to people, the question they asked me, and if y'all just bear with me a few minutes. Okay. How are you? How you holding up and all of this? That's a shoot. So I'll look at the little notes. Grateful, thankful, optimistic. This has been an adventure, life. But we was talking about every time we go on some little thing, we'd ask anybody want to go? They said, no. No, heck no. That don't look like no fun to me. You know what? This don't look like no fun. But it ain't nothing as much fun as this. Just imagine. Here's a nigga that can talk to the FBI. Y'all a bunch of punks. Now, who else can do that? Tell the truth. And go down to the FBI office and pass out the flyer at the FBI office. That's years ago. And when they come out, oh, thank you. Thank you. This is the FBI. Everybody else is scatter them people, right? They scatter them people. And the Oakland police, they dragging me out of the masjid naked last month. People, right? Who is up to date on all of this stuff? Forget about whether people are paying attention to it or not. Forget about whether either they like it or not, or it doesn't make a difference. See, this is what protracted, this is what long range, this is what all them cars out there that don't run mean. Right? This is what everything out there, none of it works, right? They're the ones that ran out of stuff to do. Can you imagine? They done ran out of stuff to do, right? It don't have nothing. I just plunk it in, and I'll go back to years ago. I'll just walk where I want to go till I get ready to buy something. I can walk. I catch the subway. I can arrange things. I could walk. This is my third, fourth day back at my regular workout schedule. Man, I feel wonderful, right? Instead of walking over in the park, in the woods, shoot, I could just walk to the subway, walk wherever I want to do, right? I don't need, in fact, it'd be less like cutting the lawns years ago. Of course, I ain't gonna be in a hurry to cut them now because it's too hot. I mean, when you get a little older, you know, you have to admit though, time and age, you know, I'm 75. And I know the white man is always up to no good, but there is something to aging. You know what I mean? You just may not feel like it. You know, you may not have energy, and it get real hot. Old people be dying in hot weather, right? They be passing away and goodbye. So the point is that I know the white man when he give you a little imbalance, because I can tell how everybody act. If I go up on the roof and tilt everybody, because I understand. Really, believe me, I understand. You got to understand, I understand. But here's what I got confidence in. Number one, the trick for me forever was I liked niggas. I just like niggas. Ain't nothing I can do about it. Jamil, them, niggas. And you know, I always just liked black people. I mean, I like black people. Ain't nothing I can do about it. And the older they are, the better. I like the old, you know, when I was growing up type, you know, that you know, when the black segregation. They talk about, hell, I hate integration. I like segregation. Well, we got, look what Seg produced, man. The music, nobody can touch it. Nobody can touch it. The history, the style, the way niggas used to dress, man, they got niggas now wearing tennis shoes and all kinds of, man, what are they wearing? I don't, you know, it's not that I don't like it, but you saw the way we used to dress, so I could show you my clothes, you know. And then niggas think I like light women. Look at this here. This is Miss Mary. That's the darkest woman in the world. I mean, I know y'all seen it. I showed it to you before. Yeah, I'm just saying that they think that this nigga like yellow women. You would be shocked that the yellow women and the white women, I'm telling you, the stuff you have to get by, I'm on the plane flying on British Airways. Yeah, British Airways. I mean, this is when Bobby Blue Bland was there. When she walked in, Bobby Blue Bland said, this is when we was at the club. But anyway, what I'm saying is, no, here we are. I'm sitting right next to a nice young white lady, and then there's a Malaccan guy. That's Indonesian. That's when they had Malaccan terrorists. That's probably before y'all's time. You know, in Indonesia and all that. This guy is drunk and doing all kind of stuff. So the white woman says to the other white lady sitting right in the middle, would you like for me to move you from these niggas here? No, no, no. So that means she had to stay. She was seated where she was supposed to. So I'm flying back to South America, and that white woman was there to take me off the plane, to take me to Peru instead of getting off the plane. And they had it all set up. You can see the way it's all set up. Oh, you don't have to get off at Bogota. You can go on to Peru because we ain't checking nothing. You know, and the white woman is there to take, you know, how many niggas is gonna just avoid, 50 white women in a row? In those days, that's in the 70s, you know, they had special, they get extra stuff in the 70s, white women, you know, now they just kind of normal. But you know, how many niggas are gonna, and then she's saying, you know, I have a Paki boyfriend, Pakistani, to show that she's not prejudiced, anything like that. Anyway, all the time, every time, right? How many of our brothers would avoid all of those traps? Can you imagine the amount of traps every day, all the time, year in and year out? They can't do it. They wouldn't do it. Every one of our brothers get trapped by some little $2 thing, right? Every last one of them. All of our brothers. It's not just Imam Jamil getting tired of being harassed by the police. You can't get tired because of harassment. That's part of the job. Especially one or two little old things like that, right? Do you think the police care whether they got him for that or something else? Do you think they cared about the old dumb police that got killed? Hell no, they don't care nothing about none of that. All of it is expendable. The same thing with Jeff Ford and all the other brothers. When people ask me, how you doing? I said, just as fine as I can be. I can't get no better. I can't get no better. Why? Long as you mission orientated and you had a faith to go with it, that's some of the things that our people have been missing. That's why we got a special job here. It is to carry the whole weight of the history. Remember the stuff we read sometime, it says there are certain characteristics that you be there with the people of old, and you would see what rose them up and what brought them down, right? And what affected their transition. You know what I mean? What made them prosper and what made you be there. Look, it is as though you're there with them. Now, I don't want to get spooky. But the other day when I was watching this thing about Grant, you know, General Grant, the Battle of Vicksburg, I done mentioned it 1,000 times, but when they was talking about the Negro troops up on the north side, and my great-grandfather, because remember we talking on there, and I was saying, hey, I just listened to what my father said talking to my great-nephew, right? And I said, do you remember Aunt Dale? He said, yeah, we stayed together for a while. I said, she has, my father told me, and I had forgot about it, but I was listening to the tape again, has the discharges, Aunt Dale, she was born in 1898, had the discharge papers of, I guess that's, my father called him Grandpa, so he had to be my great-grandfather. Discharge papers and the bayonet, you know, the bayonet. He said, and so that's why I asked him, I said, man, you check and see if if our relatives got Aunt Dale's paperwork, you know, because it would be the discharge papers. You know how many niggas nowadays got their great-great-great-grandfather's discharge papers? Hardly none. Okay, but the thing about that is that when they mentioned the battle and how it went, it's as though you're almost there. It's not reincarnation, I'm not trying to be spooky. But when you get into some aspects of history, it's though you're right there with them almost. That's what Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui was saying about from the slave ship right to the anvil or the blacksmith, that this way this guy is talking, he was there. You see what I mean? Okay, now, niggas jumping off ships so they won't come here. Packed in there like sardines, you know what I mean? Hey, anyway, it's a long story. But that old saying, do you remember me? You know what I mean? All them people. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not going to forget them at all. That's why some people don't care nothing about selling their identity or anything. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. Not the brother. The white man, as we used to say, can kiss my black ass. Why? Because we got stuff to do. And he's been a bad boy. Boss man has been a bad boy. Right? That's all I can say about him. Exceptionalism. It seems what we take as normal is exceptional. What we take as normal every day is exceptional. Out of all the so-called African American groups, right? You would say, we ain't sweating it, right? But it's exceptional when you're alive and you make all the right alliances. You just happen to lock with Iranians instead of Saudis. Iranians is not perfect, right? But that's the right team. Hezbollah might be having trouble right now, but that's the right team, right? And the white man say Hezbollah sells when they talking about us. I had to tell Hezbollah when we was over there, because they were sending letters, they'd have their letterhead, we're friendly and we like getting along, you know what I mean? And technically I know the law, like, hey, you can't say too much of that. You know what I mean? It's like we know the level of the law, right? Other brothers do, hey man, tell the old man we happy. And I'm not gonna call no Hezbollah and say, hey man, we happy to see you, right? And we gonna have some good get-togethers or anything, right? Heck no. Why? Technically it's not against the law, but by the time these boys finish with it, it will be, right? It'll get you put in jail, it'll get you killed. You go to jail when you get ready. You choose your time in jail. That means you could develop your program. You use the penitentiary for arrest to clear your mind. Okay, surplus. So we did talk about, and we move toward a close. We did talk about the 300 agents, right? That is true, that the FBI transferred 300 agents to black gangs. That means how important is black gangs, right? If they were that important, right, how many eyes would be on them? All eyes would be. What chance would they have with their level of sophistication? What kind of chance would they have to develop? would the government give them a chance to develop? Now, if you take leaders and they go to jail voluntarily, they don't have to set them up and pull them off. They do it themselves, right? So that's fine. They're off the scene. And then the government is going to study what is the level that those people are on. Okay, they're not that brilliant because they wouldn't do the things that they're doing if they had evolved to the right level. Because boss man don't give you no chances like, oh, I didn't mean it, boss man. Oh, boss man don't do that, right? Boss man haven't give us no breaks. Okay. So we are exceptional. That's not bragging, that's not talking, but we're exceptional. This is 2020, and we're still here, and ain't nobody even around, right? And how is it that ain't nobody dropping by? Where's the people 20 years ago? Where's the Negroes that was here 10 years ago? Where are they at, right? Where are all the people in Oakland, California? Just think about it. You got to remember that whole state was lined up behind As-Sabiqun. Immigrants, children, Sunnis, Shias, everybody. Where did they go? Where did they all go, right? All of this stuff, that's real. What we're doing is exceptional. What we've already done is exceptional. And I believe that we wouldn't be here unless world-class movement time, that's all. And ain't nothing boss man can do about it. There's nothing technically. This is not arrogant, I'm just saying. If they could help, that's fine. They could be mad, fine, don't make no difference. It don't make no difference what they do, because we're going through our daily routine and our daily schedule. We'll evolve. We've been here many times before, right? And we're not back where we thought we might have to be. Remember what we said, you have to be prepared to sleep under a bridge. We don't have to sleep under no bridge, but we were prepared to, right? We were prepared to sleep under a bridge. That's the preparation. That they can take everything because it's their law. Hell, we still got tons of property and everything else. So we're going to build off of that, right? They run niggas crazy. The crazy house is full of people that nobody even knows about. White boys, Negroes, I done seen them in penitentiaries all around the place. One white boy, he was right there on the Mexican in La Tuna after the rebellion. You remember in Ohio where the white boy is laying out on the ground and they got the white girl looking up in 1970? Why you do this? Kent State. See, boss man is not a friendly guy, you know what I mean? And they were just, what is the purpose of all of this? And boss man, just like them Haight-Ashbury, hippie, flower, love, make love, not war folks, you saw the pictures, I spent time with them in California. They did the same thing. They killed niggas with heroin and everything else, and they killed them with crank and LSD, run them crazy. This is a diabolical system. And here we are after 50 years. Do you know how nice that is? That we had time to help people who was in exile with money many times over. I believe the brothers was able to leave Algeria and go where they want because they was broke when we got there. But after we got there and left, then they could leave and go where they want because they had money. They had no money when we got there. Okay? The other thing is the willingness, Oakland, the right size, the right place, the right time. Oakland, today, right size, right place, right time. DC, you got both of these. The right place, the right size, and the right time for our step up into Islamic revival, human revival, right? That's what's happening right now. That's the part we're going to play. I didn't want to take all this time, but I wanted to change the subject because some stuff came up. And even when I was just mentioning to you about Abdul Kareem out there. No, because I tell people sometime, I say, oh, so-and-so, yeah, he's a tattletale. He's a snitch. He's the police. But for you, he ain't the police. For you, he ain't the snitch. He act like a nice guy out there, right? He acts educated, knowledgeable, trained, human. Because you ain't the target. I am, right? The people, when I'm the target, them niggas is nice to everybody. They take them to dinner, right? They have visits where they do it. Because they're not the target. I am. But sometimes it's the target that's representing the movement. And so far, dear believers, when they ask, how you doing? I said, man, this is sweet. It's sweet because we haven't bitten nothing that they throw out. So far, and they throw it out every day. Hey, how about a little bit of this? Hey, we ain't bitten none of it. No. They got to reassess what they think about niggas because of us. Can you imagine how they've recalibrated all along? Because they've been writing us off all along for the last 30 years. They're not going to get past this, not going to get past that. And they recalibrated. They didn't recalibrate it so much. Now they off the page. They don't know what to do. It's too late to burn a nigga because, all this stuff is all out all over, right? And if something happened, then the people will say, man, let's see what he was talking about, right? Now imagine if everybody listened to 10% of what we done said. 15, right? 20%. Suppose they get a big CD thing with all, like Malcolm had 31 lectures. Suppose they have one of those with 30 lectures of Imam Musa, 2 hours each, with all of this stuff on it, right? They say, man, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's all they'll say. Anyway, I didn't mean to get y'all over here and freeze you to death, but no, people ask me, sometimes they hey man, what's happening with you? I said, man, you don't know, I can't. In fact, I haven't even told them. It's like a dream. It's like what you want to do, I'll close with this. The first was the white man's dream. You watching TV, and they had an old program, just a pilot program, Desilu Playhouse. It was about Al Capone. Later on, they made it a whole TV series, the old ancient 1962 and 63 Untouchables, right? Al Capone and Frank Nitti. After time, there's Frank Nitti there, Bruce Gordon. You may not believe it, but Felix Mitchell, the baddest crew after me, it was fired for them to watch them programs. Because remember, we're in California, we had no idea about how gangsterism. That's wonderful. So you have an idea. The reason we were so far ahead that we just thought, oh, gangsters do this. So we watched the TV, and that's exactly what we did, just like what Al Capone and white people, we did that's what they got, right? That's why we said, if white people had a syndicate, we figured we deserve a syndicate too. Right, a syndicate all over, niggas all over the country. That's what we was working on. That's why the white man said we had not having none of that. You know, and the only time he come back with it is when you get so big in something else, he'll come and say, hey, what about your old dream of all the niggas working? Don't you want to give all the niggas stuff? And then you be the big chief of the United States? So this boy, you're a dumb cracker. You're just a little slow. You're 500 years late, boss man. But he know what you was working on. At that time, can you imagine? Can you imagine what we was doing in Oakland? Imagine if all the black youth around America was organized and they used all of their money to develop their community. Starting in the 60s, where we would be now, right? Where you circulate money in the community, right? That's what we did in Oakland. We did it because, hey, that's what gangsters do. Gangsters take money and they build up. That it came off TV. Can you imagine? So we got a chance to live our dream. What about Malcolm? Oh, when you learn some sense. You get a chance to do Malcolm and beyond Malcolm, right? Yeah, Allah give you an opportunity. Just because everybody else say you can't get no smarter than Malcolm, well, you're just stupid. If Malcolm was 25%, we have to be 85% just to be in the room, right? Because that's how fast things is going now, right? We can't come back with Malcolm 1965. It's stupid, right? That would be insanity, right? Okay. Now, today, how many black people get a chance to face down old dumb boss man when boss man is actually going down this time, right? We can wave bye-bye. No matter what happened to us, he's still gone. We can say bye-bye, boss man. That's true. You see what I mean? No matter what happened to us, we can still say goodbye, boss man. You're going to be eating chop suey from now on, right? Ain't nothing you can do about it. Right? The history, right? Goodbye, boss man, right? Now I'll close with this. Although we're here to help, and we're going to, that's probably the reason we're still around, because we never let the white man make us mean. Either mean or scary or something, right? It didn't work. Okay, didn't mean to take all y'all time. Did I answer any questions? Or did any of this make sense about heroic suicide? Does that make any sense at all? Heroic suicide, that the brothers don't have no way out, they don't see any way out. And that the white man know what he's doing. He don't have, and he can't see any way out, right? The glass ceiling, right? Yeah, go ahead.
So all along, when you talked about the trap, so you talked about the white women and the drug. So all along with Jeff Fort, the government money was a trap all along.
Oh, good God Almighty, the government money? That's one thing about prison. You get a chance to talk to everybody about what he.
Before the marijuana, this is the first.
Of course, no. When he was in prison, he was there because of money. You got to remember. Here's what they said. They didn't tell the niggas nothing about accountability. They said, now here's the money. Here's $1 million. Now you just go out there and party. And what's the nigga going to buy? A red Cadillac, greenhouse, all that, right? And then they come back. They say, oh, did you sign this? Did you see this clause right here? You can't hardly see it. Did you see this clause here on accountability? That's why Jeff Ford was in the federal penitentiary for accepting federal money, right? And they tried to get half the people in California on the same thing. They tried to give money to the Black Panther Party. Everybody, oh, we'll just give you money. So ain't nobody gonna read all that. It's like your rent paper, or all that stuff. You ever read that whole thing?
And one of the vice lords, Bobby Gore, they didn't get him on that, but they got him on a trumped up murder charge. Because he was actually Jeff Ford's cousin.
Right.
Vice lords. Right.
They got something for everybody, and they keep throwing it out. They don't go fishing one day. If they don't bring nothing home, they just go out fishing and they throw, oh, let's try this bait. They don't like that, right? And pretty soon, somebody done bid at something. That's why we're special. We're exceptional. We're exceptional because we haven't bid at nothing. They ain't put nothing, anything they do it about us, they had to make it up, right? Because they can't say about tender, you can put, look, you want the Muslims, you just bring, right around here, they used to bring 3, 4 cutie pies in there, roll them in, and the imam will have many as he could have. Let me say, I got 2 wives, so I just need 2 more, right? And it was pitiful. The movement, they don't have to, they don't even, it was so easy. It was so easy, but then you just keep lasting, it's protracted. And you didn't study. That's why I say about the game. In the game, in order to get big, you have to be big. You can't be no big, even if the government is supporting you. If you a big nigga, big niggas had to be big. You couldn't be like some guys, they said, that nigga, he'll never be nobody because he's too kind to his dick. That means he's too kind to his penis. Stuff like that. He can't be big because they just know that. So, okay, no, if you big, you have to have some big characteristics, but that don't mean you're gonna miss everything. Because we used to have a saying too, it's too many ways to be a fool to duck them all. It's too many ways to get tricked or to fool yourself or to be fooled to miss all of them. So we've missed all of them. We've missed every time they throw something at us, we done rolled. That's not arrogant, that's just saying we're here, we're living proof. And we're here to prove to everybody else, you can do it, Mr. and Mrs. Negro. You don't have to be scared of this cracker no more. We done proved it to you. We can do it, yes.
No, I was going to say,
Yeah.
if I can add it, when Imam Laban killed, I guess the trap with them was they always talk about guns and shooting and all that. So they always walk around with legal weapons. They all, and they said amongst them who was selling stolen goods.
Would you turn the heat off? No, go ahead.
Yeah. So the 2 white guys who just showed up and said we got flat screen TVs, they already had a disposition towards this is a Catholic society. You don't have to honor the Catholic laws. You can smudge VIN numbers. So, and all of this was in the affidavit.
Yeah, I think I might even have the affidavit. I got the several page where they might refer to S1, S5, source number 6. Okay. Okay. The point they made though was they tried to give Imam Luqman $5,000 to do something. He said, I'm not gonna do anything to anybody innocent. We don't do that. So it's not that they were careful, they were relatively loosish. No, they were, but see, go back to us again. We don't need somebody, people come here tons of time. They used to come through, we got this. I said, no, we don't want no special gifts. We don't want nothing special. You take that stuff back home. But the proof is this. Them Negroes was about 2,000-3,000 people up there at his funeral. They didn't raise a dime. Everybody know that's the poorest community in the world. His wife from Tanzania, I don't know what she was. Huh? She got deported. Yeah, she called me from Tanzania.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I could hear her husband over there in the backgrounds. Because they in Tanzania, they may need a little money or something. And I was okay, here's what happened. Do you know, I never seen that woman in my life, but the niggas put out a rumor that I was trying to go with her, or she was trying to go with me. Really? Yes, sir. And all the woman did was call me. She said, Imam Musa, my husband did not have a gravestone. I said, how much y'all? 1,100. Y'all remember that? I said, shoot, there you go. And then we paid some of their bills. But the point is, those Negroes knew if you have a few thousand people there, you could just raise some money for the community. This is a poor community. What is it, 3,000 people there? Y'all give $10 a piece. That's $30,000. Is that $30,000? Something like that. $30,000. Nice piece of change. They didn't do that. Them niggas, hey man, they're so rotten. And what's the nigga from New York? Probably is his name. Gave the janaza from New York. Was that the old mushmouth imam? The old mushmouth imam. Yeah, Talib. Yeah. Muslim Islamic Brotherhood. Yeah, real small up here and big around there. Yeah. Mushmouth, we call it mushmouth. Anyway, and out of all the imams, Imam Jamil's imam, he was the one that was most vocal. Where's anybody else? He gave a talk out here, didn't he? At one of them. And Imam Luqman, yeah, he was fired up. See, remember now, I know them good. We know each other very well for decades and decades. Mutawa from what's her name? Cleveland? Yeah, we know him very well, as brothers say. Anyway, Imam Mutawa, nice guy. Somebody was saying, anyway, we knew the whole, that period was a wonderful period. You got to remember, when we come through all of this, the late 70s, early 80s, they're getting rid of all the Muslim groups. And so we around the Dar al-Islam, in fact, Suleiman al-Hadi, all the people that we was close to, especially was the Dar, but also Islamic Party. You know, we got all their literature when we was way back in the penitentiary in 75 and all of that, you know. And, but we had a chance to watch what people said about them. Oh, they do this, they do that, and they got this much time to last. And they could say that because the behavior, you know, of each crew. And they sent Negroes out there to try to scare us. Like they said, they kidnapped one of the Iranians. in 85, 82. They told him, we'll cut your penis off and stick it in your mouth. The niggas from Jelani's crew. Yeah. And they sent them out there to Compton, and they sent them around there to buy property up in Northern California. And we'd have a program, and they would come and just look, you know, just like we're here. No, we would let them know. Look, we ain't scared of none of y'all. You know, we're not afraid of any of y'all. You know, we love everybody, but you know, we don't get that message. Just like we told them used to come here, used to leave the paper down here. You know, we saw them out at everywhere you look. You just look at all the people out at, what's that thing we went to, USCMO out there? One of the guys' name was Jelani. I remember. Yeah, I'm telling you. But they were all free to speak, except us. And nobody get a chance to speak at none of these joints, right? But us, even if we have it here in the masjid. Okay, that's good, because there's no question. Okay, so what happened to Imam Luqman? Of course they set him up. But see, that's another thing about not wanting nothing extra. Like whatever they was, white folks was giving them, it was basically like the white folks said, just come and move this from this spot to that spot, right? And they get killed, or he get killed. Okay. So they can't nobody call me and ask me to move nothing, because I don't want nothing extra, right? If you got some big gift you want to give us, you can do that. Just, in fact, let me get the camera. You handing that to me right here. Right, good for you. But I don't want anything. No. This is the point about our brother. It's too many ways to slip up on you. You have to be woke all the time. All the time. You can't say, well, this time I'm going to do just a little of that. You can't do that. You're not allowed that. You may get away with it. You may get away with it once, 5 times, but eventually they're going to stick you, so you can't do that. This is what our brothers don't understand. You have to be strictly up and down Islam. You have to do that, plus the other life information that you've acquired. In all of your life, you're going to have to use it in this movement. Our brothers, basically, the government is not fair, but the government has never been fair. They slave niggas, they whoop white folks, they do what they, right? You can't ask for a fair shake from the United States, right? Hey, we just want a fair shake. They don't do that. They don't have that. They never have done it. Actually, they don't know what it means. They can read stuff and say it, but they don't understand it. Okay, we have to teach people that lesson, but how to move forward with goodness and kindness and make America good at the same time. That's rare. That's why we on the money. Shoot, we're exceptional. It ain't nobody else even thought about messing with mean old boss man and still doing good. They want to kill him. They want to set that joker on fire. Hey man, boss man is that mean. But we just want to hug boss man to death. That's what we're going to do as soon as we get a chance. Are there any questions? I didn't mean to run all off in the woods, but these questions, especially on heroic suicide, I believe was necessary, because unless you do it sometime, you don't know, you wouldn't know why a brother do that, man. You know what I mean? Why a brother just go off like that, you know? And then the other thing, if the brothers take bayah to somebody and they saying they doing this to me, then what about them, right? They have bayah. What does the bayah mean? Doing fair weather bayah, good weather bayah, you know, other than that. So, you know, no, we're exceptional here, and we know it. And, any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Okay. Any comments? Anybody else? Any questions? Did everything come out clear? Again, we ask y'all to overlook our, not running off at the mouth or nothing like that, but it just seemed like that it was good to clarify that, you know. Okay, if there's no more questions and no more comments, thank you very much. As-Salamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh.